Hello, I'm Ian Marsh.
Darren Stevens, and we want to welcome you to the How to Find the Ideal Investment Home on the Gold Coast.
So, what you're going to learn in this short training is why the Gold Coast is a great place to live or invest. We're also going to reveal our simple 6-step guide to property selection. You're going to learn how you can actually buy and secure a property for as little as $3,000. So you'll be able to own that property over the next couple of years by only putting down a very small amount of money. And then you're also going to learn how to find the right team of experts to help you grow your property wealth. A little bit about us. We've personally bought and developed over 20 properties worth over $13.5 million. We've made hundreds of millions of dollars for our clients, and we believe property is one of the easiest ways to build wealth and not stuff it up. Now, a little bit about me. As I said, my name's Ian Marsh. I'm #1 best-selling author, business advisor, entrepreneur, and property investor. And this is my best-selling book, The Inconvenient Truth About Business Success. And this is the result of us applying our real estate strategies, because I now get to lead a blessed life and get to share more success than I ever thought was available to me. Maybe a bit about you, Darren.
So a little bit about me. Yes, I'm a best-selling author as well, business advisor and entrepreneur, and I've written a number of best-selling books. The other things is I'm married. I have a whole stack of kids, and I had to become an entrepreneur and make a lot of money to be able to feed them all. And one of the things for me, unlike Ian's stunning looking property, my first property wasn't quite as good. This was my first home, actually. I bought that when I was only 17 years old, though. And there it is, a little country town in Mildura, and that's where I grew up, and this was my first home. But from getting that early start into property, I realized the potential of it and grew my wealth, but also grew into owning a number of properties and some very beautiful homes. This was one of mine in Melbourne on 2 acres, over 90 square home with a couple of houses on it. And then I have a beautiful holiday home on Hamilton Island with the Great Barrier Reef with stunning views, and have had many properties. I've had also the privilege of working with a whole stack of famous people over the years, and some of them being like Robert and Kim Kiyosaki, that wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad, and obviously fantastic property coach and mentor, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Tony Robbins, and a lot of other famous people, and learnt lots of strategies that are around wealth creation from these people that are my friends and also that I've had the privilege of working with. The other thing is, one of the things we want to share with you on this webinar is the fundamental things that you need to know about the real estate industry. Now, the first thing is you need to understand about on-the-market listings. We call these the fish that John West rejects. Often that's a lot of the properties that you see that are already out there that are being sold by multiple agents or being listed up on a lot of the sites. So that's what is called on-the-market listings. Then you have a thing called pre-market or advanced listings. This is when an agent gets an exclusive listing before it's actually advertised. And this is actually the best stuff, right? So when you can get the pre-market stuff, that is where you get the real bargains and the best value. Then, of course, you have off-the-market listings. Now, off-the-market listings often occur because the property is owned by a celebrity. So it doesn't actually get advertised through the normal real estate sites and things. It's been done off to often agents' lists and off-market connections, because if it's owned by a celebrity and it was advertised, then every man and his dog would want to go through that person's house and check it out. To give you an example, Shane Warne sold his property in Melbourne, and it was an off-the-market listing. So people didn't know that it was Shane Warne's or that it was for sale, and it was done privately, so that you didn't have lots of people that would want to go through Shane Warne's home and check it out just to have a look rather than being a serious buyer. All right, so that's what happens there. All right, so pre-market advanced listings is the ones that you really want to be looking at.
So now, why the Gold Coast? Why are we such avid fans of the Gold Coast? Well, it is Australia's 6th largest city. Property values have surged 53.3%. And obviously, many places in Australia have grown since COVID. However, the Gold Coast has been one of the market leaders. In addition to that, this has the highest employment to population ratio outside the capital cities. So the opportunity for work and for is just second to none. Now, we also have a challenge on the Gold Coast because people are discovering it's a great place to live.
Yeah.
The rental is 0.3% vacancy rate as we're recording this, which is obviously pretty crazy, Darren.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's great if you're an investor or a property owner.
Oh, it is. It is. So this powerful combination just spells fantastic opportunity for property investors. But now I want to show you what the future holds. And this is the present, but in the future, to really promote and really speed up the growth and capital gains, they're building a health and knowledge precinct on the Gold Coast. $5 billion. Now, this isn't just any type of precinct. This is going to be the world's leading premier place for thought leaders to come to develop solutions and have world-class hospitals. So you're going to have people from all around the world coming to the Gold Coast to get well again and do research. In addition to that, one of the suburbs, Southport, a beautiful spot on the Gold Coast, is getting a $5 billion rejuvenation of the whole city or suburb of Southport. Now, again, I don't know about you, ladies and gentlemen, I've had more than my fair share of wealth, but $5 billion, that's a pretty big number. You can imagine the impact that's going to have on the area. And now, because everybody's coming to the Gold Coast, I mean, we used to have 35,000 people a year come to the Gold Coast and to Queensland to live here. Now we're getting 35,000 people a month. It is just that attractive right around the world. People are zeroing in on Queensland, and now we've got to have the infrastructure to allow for it.
I think also, Ian, is that people are sick of being in the other states where it's cold and wet or they're locked down. Queensland is the place to be. It really is. Yeah. People are coming in by the dray loads.
100%. And now, in addition to that, we're going to be upgrading all of the highways. There's massive reconstruction going on now on our highways to relieve any traffic congestion. And I'm sure all of you have heard of Star Casino. There's a massive plan where they're going to have that whole area built out again as a world-class destination, just like the Riviera, where the people are going to come from all over the world, celebrities, high-end individuals, and everyday people as well. They're going to seek out the Gold Coast as the place to come for holidays, because it really is. If you live here, you'll understand why it really is an amazing sweet spot in the whole of Australia. So it's now been discovered. And in addition to this happening, we've got the Olympics occurring as well. So Gold Coast and Queensland and Brisbane are going to be at the forefront of communications leading over the next couple of years. Now, we've got the Gold Coast light rail. That's going to go all the way down to the airport, which is getting a massive rejuvenation because that's an international airport. We've got two great benefits on the Gold Coast. 45 minutes one way, you've got Coolangatta International Airport. 45 minutes the other way, you've got Brisbane International Airport. Take your pick. So we're right smack dang in the middle of it all. And then right here, you've got the Spit Master Plan. So this is, again, we talked about Southport a little bit earlier, but they're going to be rejuvenating this whole area for the public, so that this is where you hear of places like SeaWorld, and you can hop on a little water taxi and navigate through what you're seeing here to surfers, etc. It's just going to be an amazing place. And I mentioned those international tourists earlier. We're going to have the cruise ship terminal. $463 million is this going to be, this amazing international cruise ship terminal. So even more people are going to be coming and discovering the Gold Coast. This is just why we're so excited. And then finally, of course, we have to add a little culture to our atmosphere of holiday destination. This is the home of the arts precinct, where there's going to be amazing exhibitions and really good live performances, etc., going on here on the Gold Coast. Now, I want to speak to some individuals that have got lots of letters after their name, such as Dr. Nicola Powell. She's Chief of Research for Domain. So you've heard of real estate platforms like realestate.com.au and domain.com. Dr. Nicola Powell believes that Queensland is one of the premier destinations, mainly because of tight rental markets overall. When you have a look at it and compare it to, say, Brisbane and the Sunshine Coast, the demand for people wanting to rent on the Gold Coast is extraordinary. So because of all of these things that are happening around here, she believes this is the sweet spot. And then you've got Tim Lawless from CoreLogic. Now, you may not have heard of CoreLogic, but that is the actual platform that all of the real estate industry go to for research and data. All the real estate agents use this platform, and all the developers utilize this platform because they keep the statistics and the information. Tim Lawless is saying that the Gold Coast, again, is going to be one of the premier lifestyle regions to look at.
So what we'd like to do now is to share with you one of our 6-step checklists that we have for property selection. So when you're out there and you're looking for property, this is the steps that we suggest that you make sure you take on board. So the first thing is, what is the capital growth over the last 10 years for the area that you're looking in? And now what we do, Ian and myself, is we do this for our clients already. So we help them through this process, but you can do it yourself if you'd like. And so we've given you the website link to go to where you can check out, and that'll give you the actual growth over the last 10 years of those areas. So that's something you want to be aware of because you're looking for capital growth over the last 10 years. And the second one is the average household income. We tend to look and like the areas where they have a higher income. And so we find that they're the best areas to invest in for you to get a great return and to get capital growth and for your property. So again, you can look that up yourself. We've given you the website link there where you can do your own research, but they're things that we look for our clients. The third thing is that we look for the demand and the supply ratio in that area. This shows us the ratio of the sellers to buyers. So what you don't want is you don't want a lot of sellers and not many buyers in an area. So again, you can do this research. We've given you the link again there. All right. So again, that's another one of the checkpoints that we look at for our clients to make sure that they're getting secure investments. The fourth thing is you want to look for places that have nice shopping strips, not necessarily the big, huge Westfield shopping centres and those sorts of things. They're okay, but you want areas that also got nice little shopping areas as well, because we find they perform really well in growth as well. The fifth thing to consider is when you are looking at an area, the banks actually blacklist certain suburbs. And they do that because there's either an oversupply of stock in those markets. And so they have nominated certain areas that they don't like lending the same ratios to, and they blacklist those suburbs. So you find it harder to get finance on certain areas. So again, that's the research we do for our clients. But again, you can do that yourself. One of the examples, you might notice that Brisbane City is one of those places that they don't like to lend money on. All right. So there's certain areas, but again, check it out. Again, the website's there. We can find out some of those blacklisted suburbs. And these are things that we find a lot of people don't actually understand or know about this, that there are blacklisted suburbs from a financial point of view. All right, so you want to know that when you're looking at it. The sixth point would be is you want high restrictions on future development. So if you're buying in an area, you don't want to have a skyscraper build right next door to you, like this image that we're showing here, where there's two buildings side by side squashing that little place in between it. All right, so you want to make sure that you look at the town planning and the local council to find out that information so that you're not going to be built out in front of. Because, you know, you might go and buy a nice property and then think, oh, I've got a stunning view, only to realize that they've got permission to build a high rise in front of you, and then no longer do you have a view. And there's certain things that we know as being in the game, that certain developers, when they're buying an area, and they tend to buy up other properties around it so that they block that so that people can't build high rises in front of them, and to protect their view. So you want to know all that back end research, and that's one of the strategic things that we do as well.
So with that in mind, okay, so we've covered off on you understanding the statistics of the growth for the Gold Coast. Now you understand a simple checklist to follow when you're selecting a property, and this applies in just about any area. You follow those 6 simple steps. Now what we want to do is educate you a little bit more on how savvy real estate investors utilize their funds so they get the maximum return on investment for their money. Okay, so typically, if someone wanted to buy a property, the normal thing they'd do is they go to their bank, maybe where their home loan is, and say, "Oh, can I have some more money?" And maybe they'd draw down $100,000 for a 10% deposit on $1 million property or something along those lines. Okay. So, what we want to do is just show you another way that you can buy a property without tying up all of your capital. We like to call it using other people's money and leveraging other people's money. So rather than you paying your 10%, as most people do, on $1 million home, then that'd be that $100,000, and you're tying all that money up, and you could be earning money. So a property might take 2 years to build for. If you put $100,000 deposit into it, that's 2 years of interest that you're not getting. And so if we said that you got 10% return on your money, well, $10,000 a year over 2 years is actually more than $20,000 because you've got compounding interest. So maybe even $22,000 is what you're losing because you're tying up all of that capital. So another way that you can do it is you can use a deposit bond. So what a deposit bond is, it is an agreement that you will pay the builder the money when the development's completed. Generally, a deposit bond costs around about 2.5% to 3% of the deposit. So if you had the $1 million home and the deposit was $100,000, you just need to put down $2,500 and you can literally buy that property. You then own the property and you don't need to settle on it until that property is completed. Now, the other fantastic side benefit is it also protects you. So God forbid anything did go wrong, and that, because we do our due diligence, that has never happened with any of our developers, but you're only going to lose a very small sum of money. Okay, so something to consider. So in addition to that, you're going to benefit from the capital gain. So again, if we got 10% growth over the next 2 years while this building is being completed, then that's $200,000 that you've gotten, even though you've only put down $2,500 to own that property. Okay, so if you can see the benefit of that, and then add to that the additional money that you're making from the interest on the deposit money you would have tied up initially, it's really a no-brainer. So it's not always the solution, but it's a very effective way to buy investment properties.
So the next things that we wanted to talk to you about was the 7 critical steps to our property investing wealth formula. And I'll run you through those. The first thing is you want to develop the right investor mindset. All right. We help our clients do that. Then the second step is create a plan and a system. You need to know what it is that you're looking for, what it is that your goals are. Is it for an investment? Is it for something for you to move and have a lifestyle change and to live in? There's a whole range of things that we would help you and coach you around to get clear about that. So you've got the right plan and the right system. Finding the right team of experts to support you. That's one of the many benefits people get when they work with us, is we have a great team, whether it's someone helping you get a deposit bond or whether you're getting a loan or what it is, we can help you because we have a team of experts around us that support people in doing that. The next thing is understanding the property selection methodology. We've ran you through some of the ones that we already look at with our 6 steps before, but you want to understand that so you're really getting the right property at the right price in the right area, which is really critical. All right, cultivating a relationship with the right real estate agent. We are fortunately, besides being property investors, both Ian and I are licensed real estate agents and consultants, but we come from an educational and unbiased point of view when we help our clients. Right, getting into the market and buying early, that is really critical. Right, because when you do, you get all these benefits that you don't get if you wait too long or you wait until the property is in stage 2 or 3. All right, so getting in early is really important. We'll cover off that a little bit later. And knowing your numbers. And again, we can help you with that, where you can see how much return you're going to get, the depreciation, a whole range of things that we have some software that helps us do that, to give you a guide to be able to show you how that works and what benefits from a tax point of view you get. And many of our clients end up with positive cash flow properties right from the word go, which is fantastic. Now, buying off the plan, the pros and cons. Many people, are fearful and have heard horror stories about buying property either on or off the plan. However, this is some information that even all the banks will tell you this. But what is buying off the plan? Buying off the plan means that you're buying a property that hasn't been built yet, that is still under construction. And that the great thing about that, if you're buying off the plan, is that you can make the decision to buy based on the building plans and the designs, rather than having to buy a finished product, right? So you can get in early and make that capital growth that Ian was talking about. And the property, because it hasn't been built yet and it hasn't been finished, you have more flexibility so that you can change things often and get them the way you want them. There's certain, obviously, things that you can say, the certain finishes you may want for your property and things. We just had a property, one of our clients just bought a beautiful property in Hope Island, and they wanted different types of flooring. They've got a dog and they wanted different types of area in the backyard for their dog. And they were able to arrange all that prior to the property being built because they were buying it off the plan. So they're getting exactly what they want in advance. Now, some of the pros. The first thing is purchase price discount. If you get in early enough, particularly before the construction begins, the developer often will offer a discount on the purchase price. Now, the reason for that is when the developers are getting builders finance from their finance source, let's say in this case ANZ Bank, they get builders finance. So they have to pre-sold a few properties first off their development so that they get the balance of their funding and they get extra support from the banks or better rates from the banks and things like that. So the advantage for you getting in early is you get a better deal, and often you're getting it way cheaper than what they're really going to sell these properties for. And this is why getting in early pays. All right, the input into the design. This is another pro, is that you get the opportunity to negotiate those changes on interior and things before that property is actually even built and work that out with the developer. Builder's guarantee. New properties generally come with a builder's guarantee. So how this works is it covers different things depending on the state and territory that you're in, all right? But you want to have a look at that, and we do that for our clients as well. We actually pre-select. We have a really strict selection criteria for the developers that we work with and that we recommend to our clients, all right? But there's often a builder's guarantee, so you are covered anyway. All right. First home buyer concessions. Often if you're buying your first property, there's a whole range of things that the government have for first home buyer grants, and you don't necessarily need to be buying off the plan for this, but to be eligible, and there's rules and regulations around this depending on which state you're buying in. But in Queensland, all those things that are available as well, and we can talk to you about those as well. Another pro is the tax benefits that you get. When you're buying investment property, there's many things that you can get to depreciate when you're buying off the plan, off a new property and things. And even though that's different from different states, buying off the plan gives you some huge benefits with buying a new property. Capital growth. There's always the potential for the property to increase in value before it's even completed. Right? You buy it now or secure it now through some of the many means that we talked about, but then you've got that 2 years where you can get a great capital growth on the potential. So you've made money before you even get into the property. Saves time and money. When you're buying off the plan, you only need to pay the deposit or use a deposit bond like we're talking about. And the balance is when the construction's finished. So it gives you 2 years, let's say, as an average for that construction to be built. And you've got that time to either save money, use that money in your bank to gain interest or other things, but you're not tying up all your capital when you're buying off the plan and then you're getting this beautiful property at the end of it. So it saves you time and money. And stamp duty savings as well comes into play, depending on the state that you're in, but there's many advantages in that area as well. Now, the cons. There's only a few cons. One, the builder or go bankrupt if they don't get to finish the property, and you could lose your deposit if there wasn't that guarantee in place. So it depends on your contract. All right. However, Our clients, we don't have that happen because we have a really strict criteria of the developments and things that we look at that we would recommend. All right. Or if things went to hell in a handbasket, when you in that 2 years' time, the property market has sunk or gone backwards, which hasn't happened in centuries, but that you run the risk of that the property might be worth less in 2 years' time. I don't know too many people that would know that their property is worth less now than when they first purchased it, but that is a risk. And there could be changes in interest rates, and that's certainly plausible. Interest rates can go up or down. So they're the three cons, but there's so many more pluses than there are cons. Now, to give you an example, this is actually a personal one for me, is a property, Oceans Meriton building. It's right on the Esplanade on the Gold Coast, level 35, stunning property in there. I happen to be the one that was in it, and it was purchased off the plan for 1.2 million, or just over 1.2 million. They collected over, in just 10 months, 52,800 in rent. Recently sold literally only 30 days ago for 1.5 million and 1.53 million. So they made $302,000 profit in just 10 months because they bought it off the plan. They just held it with the security. Then by the time they paid for it, then in a short period of time, they'd made over $300,000. And that's just a current project, and it's a stunning building. And that's the type of things that you can find and get involved with. Now, off the market opportunities is where it really is at. Ian and I look for our clients. We have a number of properties that we get access to, but the off the market ones is where the real opportunity comes. This is, to give an example, this is a new development that's not, you won't find this on any real estate sites or out there on any of the public domains because it's an off the market opportunity. This is going to be a stunning development, which is just all about elegance, lifestyle, wellness to welcome you. And it's in the Broadbeach area, which is a really beautiful area that's up and coming and doing exceptional things with beautiful views of the ocean, looking back also at the Gold Coast and surface itself, all the way back down to Coolangatta and to Burleigh Heads and everything else, just stunning views. And this new off-the-market development is made look absolutely pure opulence and luxury. So when you walk in the entrance, it's going to look like a five-star prestigious hotel when it's actually your premises. All right, so come in, beautiful leather lounges, just stunning high ceilings and marble, just absolutely stunning. All right, it's all about being able to live and breathe wellness. It's going to have a beautiful spa center. All right. So can you imagine just for a moment living here, right, where you are going to have your own private spa area and wellness area, floor dedicated to your wellness, where you're going to have a gym, right, spas, saunas, steam rooms, pools, everything that you could ever possibly want. It's like your own private club, but it is actually your own apartment. All right. There's going to be a yoga room, obviously treadmills, fitness areas, right? Meditation rooms, absolutely everything you could possibly think of is here on this one level dedicated to your wellness, and you could live here. All right. It's like this exclusive membership. On the executive level, right, you'll have your own private bars. There's even because so many of us are now working from home, all right, because of COVID, that opportunity, this is custom built so that there's your own workstations and meeting rooms. So, if you're working, if you live here, you can go in and hire a hotspot or a room or a desk or work at one of the suites, right, to work from. You've also got the opportunity to, if you want to have meetings, you can hire the meeting room out because it's only for residents. So as a resident, you can go and hire the boardroom and the meeting and hold meetings there for your clients. Or you've got even the more prestigious area in one of the photos here, there's a room where you can hold meetings or have private meetings, and it's surrounded by wine racks and beautiful wines. And if you're a wine lover and collector, you can have your own key and privately lock your own wine collection in this cellar, and only you can go and access it. You'll have your own lockable cabinet, but everyone else can have their wines in there too, but they're all lockable, right? It has its own private cinema game. This is all for you as the owner and a resident. Own luxury games room and beer tables and areas for kids and electronics and a whole range of things. This is the type of beautiful off-the-market listings that we have. All right, it's all about lifestyle. You'll have your own beautiful restaurants and just in a beautiful part of Broadbeach. All right, so this is the type of things that we get access to. All right, and one of our exclusive advantages is that we only source properties in key blue chip suburbs on the Gold Coast based on our 46-point due diligence criteria that we have to make sure it meets all those criteria that we're looking for, that we know is going to make a great investment for our clients and going to get capital growth and meet all our criteria from a developer point of view, and that they've got a good reputation. So all that is one of the things that we do. The next one.
We also target the suburbs first that we know have huge growth potential, and then we find the best developers in those suburbs.
We also have access to over 1,000 properties at any one time.
We've got access to off-market developments, and when they come around, the real secret is to make sure you take advantage of these, because there's huge savings if you grab them before they go to the public.
We negotiate very special deals and discounts on behalf of our buyers due to our unique relationships that we build with our developers.
We reject well over 95% of the investment properties offered to us because they don't meet our stringent sourcing criteria.
We are business advisors and property investors who happen to just also be real estate agents and consultants and have licenses to be able to sell real estate. One of the many things is that in the industry, we shook our head, and as investors ourselves, we seen there was a lot of things that people weren't told and didn't know, and it was something we didn't like about that real estate industry. Even though we ended up getting our own licenses for real estate, we wanted to be different and unique. And so one of the things that we do is unbiased education and access to external property specialists. And that's one of the things that Ian both and I do, because we came from an industry prior where we were educating people about wealth and wealth creation. And so together we help educate our market and find the right properties that do all the right things, and without some of the things that go on in the industry that we didn't like. And so
so it's a really important point, because being business owners ourselves, I owned one of the largest business schools in the Southern Hemisphere for quite a while. And when we work with our clients, we want to help them treat their property investments as a business. And that's going to be the real secret to you achieving the outcomes that you want to achieve.
Yeah. So, one of the things that we know, that the enemy of wealth isn't just about mindset, it's about delay. And when you see opportunities, you need to have already done the research or have the right advisors around you that can give you the right advice that you can trust and that have got your best interests at heart. Because if you delay, you miss the opportunity and the price goes up and things like that. This is why we have such a good reputation with our clients, and that we work with a select private group of people that come to us. We're not out there selling everyday properties. We are very selective of what we offer our clients and find for our clients. And do you want to talk to this?
Just think about your friends, your family, maybe yourself. And you look at the property that you may have thought about buying 10 years ago, and you never want to be in the situation where you say to your family, God, if only I bought this property 10 years ago. Because here's the scenario, is ducks never line up at the right time. And people can always make excuses for why not to make a decision. But the successful people are the ones that have a system and a process. And when they follow that system, they then take the correct action.
Successful people make decisions quickly and they change them very slowly. Unsuccessful people make decisions very slowly and then they change them often and quickly. That was from Napoleon Hill, who wrote the book Think and Grow Rich, and a fantastic book, highly recommended if you're wanting something as a good read about mindset. Now, we've covered a number of things on the seminar or webinar tonight, and we want to now give you an invitation to connect with us about your property needs. So if you're looking for an off the market or a property to invest on the Gold Coast, and you're looking for somebody that can give you the right advice, tell you what areas are good, what areas are bad, what areas to stay away from, what builders are good, what builders are bad, giving you the right advice so you can make an informed decision for you and to give you some guidance along the way, then Ian and I would like to personally invite you to basically click the link below to have a conversation with us, and we can then steer you in the right direction and perhaps tell you, based on what you're looking for, we can certainly advise you what's around or what's coming up now or in the future for those areas. But what I will say is, want to have already got a great team of experts and advisors around you, because when these things come up, like the opportunity, one of the examples I just gave before of that off the mark property, that is already starting to sell very quickly and no one even hardly knows about it yet, but that'll be sold out before. And by the time it goes to the retail market in months or a few months down the track, 90% of it will be sold and the remaining 10% will be way more expensive. Because what happens is, what people don't realize that aren't in the market is that if you get in early and off the market early, then you get all the capital growth. It's the ones that they sell later. It's a bit like if you book an airline ticket and you wait to the last minute, you pay twice the price, right, for the airline ticket. Or same with accommodation, right? Because there's more of a demand and it's out there and they've already sold a lot of it, they can afford to put the price up, and then you pay a premium and you miss out on those opportunities. And we don't want to see you do that. But if you'd like to talk with us and get some guidance, then we welcome you to click the link below and we'll happily have a chat with you to see what your needs are and to whether we're a good fit and whether we can help you at all.
Yeah, and just to speak to that point, Darren, right now we've actually got access to an amazing property. And at the time of recording, it's located in Broadbeach. It's one of the most unique and exclusive developments ever created in Broadbeach. When you buy pre-market, when you actually get the rare opportunity to get access to a development like this pre-market, quite often you can save 10, even 20% of the actual retail price when it goes to the public. So it's very important, if you do have an idea about wanting to get an exclusive property and this idea of living in Broadbeach or investing in Broadbeach appeals to you, reach out to us, click the link below, and we'll have a conversation with you and see if this could be just the thing that you've been looking for. We hope you've learned a few things. Just to recap, remember, when you're looking at building your property business, you want to make sure that you're going into the right suburbs. Location is everything. At a minimum, follow our 6-step process that we went through with you, and make sure that you try to build the right team around you so that you can always depend on getting access to the opportunities when they come around. All right, so again, down below, there's a button. Click that. We can have a conversation with you, and hopefully we can help you achieve the goals you're after.
Thanks. Talk to you soon.
Bye for now.